around him to dance, sing, and play. But though alone on the ocean, our hearts, they are true to the lasses who love us, for we love them too. And our ship is our home, though it floats on the main. Your glasses fill ready, drink to old Christmas again and again. Now messmates join me, and your glasses raise high. Not a leaf to be seen, the meadows their beauty have lost. Now winter is come, 'tis cold for man and beast, and the streams they are all fast bound down in frost. But now let the small birds to the barn door fly for food, and gently they rest on the spray. The poor innocent hare search the woods all for her food, careful lest her footsteps should her innocence betray. The poor little pigeons sit a-shivering in the barn, only the north wind to blow. The poor innocent sheep from the downs unto their folds, with their fleeces all quite covered in snow. 'Tis now that the oxen stand a-stamping in the yard, they send forth their breath like the steam. Sweet Betsy, the milkmaid, now swiftly she must go, 4 flakes of ice she finds, 4 flakes of ice she finds floating in the creek. Now Christmas is come, and my song is almost done, for it soon will be the turn of the year. So let us be merry and pass the bottle round, and I wish you all a joyful New Year.
Mystic Bank.
And the other one was with you.
Yeah.
Aww.
Oh, this is an open one.
Yeah, big.
they find a group of sailors at their door. Rebecca Noyes, will you please stop fussing with that quilt and help me tidy up?
Once I finish this square, I will help you. It is a gift for Gabe for the new year, and I have 3 squares still left to complete. Patience is a virtue, dear.
Indeed, and yet Gabe and John still have not learned it.
But it does seem that John takes after you in that aspect.
Most amusing, my dear. Perhaps you were too busy fussing with that quilt and are somehow unaware of the guests that appeared on our doorstep.
Oh my goodness, how rude of me. I do sincerely apologize to each and every one of you.
She is a bit of a bird, many flights of fancy.
A bit of a bird, Mrs. McQuail. Insulting in front of our guests.
Oh, 'tis all in fun, my dear.
Yes, 'tis all in fun until one hurts feelings.
You know I did not mean it. Now, help me tidy up. Speaking of, how is Gabe taking to schooling?
Oh, he gets on well enough, and John.
He'd still rather stay home and help his mother. Sweet boy. It is a wonder I can get him out of doors some mornings, especially with all the cold that's sprung up this winter. He very much prefers to sit by the stove and watch me cook.
Well, he always has been that way, though, has he not? Rather be at home with you than at work with his father.
Indeed. Though schooling has afforded him some more curiosity as of late. Recently, he's been pestering me about this newfangled Christmas time. Never mind that my father-in-law, Marshall, keeps engaging him in the topic. It seems they've both gone completely mad about the whole ordeal. He just adores it.
Well, I received a letter from my cousin David in New York, who has informed me that the folks in the city have begun to sell Christmas trees. So the people there do not need to cut them down themselves. I mean, can you imagine such a thing?
Seems quite atrocious if you ask me. Who has heard of cutting down a tree just to place it in one's home?
I think it's interesting, though, to see something new and exciting coming into being.
Rebecca Noyes, you must learn to keep your head about these things. In a few years' time, this whole calamity will be forgotten, and people will return to working the day as they always have. Besides, it's not as if these traditions have come to our little town yet.
Why, no. Of course not. Lydia, that would be silly.
Rebecca Noyes, I must ask you why you are laughing. What on earth could possibly be so funny? Oh, you may want to take a few steps away from the door. I'm coming! What?
Merry Christmas!
What, Father? What on earth?
My
do you mean?
dear Mrs. Noyes told me of your plight in this dreary society, so I took it upon myself to bring you all a tree. Everyone should have some cheer on this new holiday, no? Look at these poor sailors. Their poor countenances. Let us all find some joy tonight.
Rebecca Noyes. Why, I cannot believe you roped my poor father-in-law into going out to the woods, cutting down a tree just to bring it inside.
Lydia, must you be so bitter? Can you not allow yourself for just a moment to experience some childlike wonder? Do you not think that this tree is not a beautiful reminder of springtime? And decorating it brings families together. If John were to find some gift in the stocking as he hung to dry by the fire, oh, he would be so joyful, Lydia.
Marshall, I cannot believe that she convinced me.
This was a small favor for a friend, my dear, nothing more. I'm thrilled to be partaking in this new and foreign holiday.
It is not foreign. It comes from the British and the Germans.
Either way, I think this is the perfect time to start a new fashion. Do you agree, Mrs. Rebecca Noyes?
Why, yes, I do, Mr. McQuail.
And what does Mr. Noyes think of you partaking in the latest fashions?
Well, he is more than happy to oblige in my so-called flights of fancy. Thank you very much.
And I suppose suppose all of you are also of the Christmas mindset. I suppose it is catching on.
Oh, how wonderful! I propose we celebrate this eve before Christmas.
Oh, very well. But how does one celebrate the eve of a new holiday?
That, my dear, is an excellent question.
I had not thought that far ahead. Perhaps a dance.
Oh, I do love a dance, and we'll decorate the tree while we dance.
I am perfectly amicable to a dance. Will you all dance with us?
Yes. Wonderful. It is very simple to learn, and we will teach you.
Please join me in forming a large and rather intimate circle around the tree. Just form a little circle. We can come this way. We have room, Jillian. Lydia, my dear.
Me?
Yes, please hand each of our guests an ornament.
Yeah, I'm just gonna.
Lydia is going to hand each of you an ornament. Right, do what you can. This will take us but an hour to complete. To the left. They came ready to dance. Line one to the tree. Line two to the tree. Hands one more time. To the right. And to the left. The other left. And thank you very much.
That will all do. These were to be for William and Alice, but everyone deserves a bit of joy this Christmas. Come, have a ginger cookie. Here you are. Oh, there are so many.
Christmas Eve, 1877. Sarah Noyes, mother of William and Ruth, is just closing Stone's store for the evening. They said the mail would arrive today. They did. Oh, where is it? It's getting awfully late. Even Ruth will be wondering where I am. Perhaps I should go. It would be foolish to wait any longer. Mr. Stone to close up shop, to not wait all night on one letter. No. What if something happened to him? I could not stand to not know. I need to know William is all right, so the mail must come. He said he was going to write before Christmas Eve, but... Oh, confound it, William Noyes. You expressly wrote in your last letter that you were going to send word by Christmas, and here I am on Christmas Eve waiting on it. You wicked boy, making your mother worry this way. Why, when you get off that ship, I swear to you I will... Oh, I cannot say it. I remember that day as if it were yesterday, but already a year has passed since you left. Off to sea on that forsaken whale ship with not a thought to your parents or sister. Ruth came home that night with tears running down her face. Last Christmas was the saddest I have endured. And then a few months later, your first letter arrived. Your father and I sat around our table and stared at that letter for what felt like hours. Finally, Ruth came home and opened it for us. You seemed older already. Your words held more weight. She read it to us time and time again. Your words brought us comfort that you would return home. And now you make your mother stand and wait for more words. Well, William Noyes, I shall wait no longer. It is Christmas Eve, it is cold, and I really must be getting home. Did any of you hear that? Well, there shouldn't be anyone in the shop. Mr. Stone went home hours ago. There shouldn't be anyone around, not at this hour. Perhaps. No, could not possibly. Well, come inside with me, if you please. Watch your step. Back door's locked as I left it. What's that? Mrs. Sarah Noyes, I believe you will have been waiting for this. Post delivered. Mr. Nicholas? Odd. Oh my. It came. William's letter came. I hope you don't mind if I read it aloud. I feel as though you've been with me on this journey, and it's only fair. Seems to have been through the ringer. My dear mother, I do hope my letter has arrived by Christmas Eve. I know I promised you one as a gift. If it is late, I apologize for making you worry. Sweet boy he is. The weather at sea is harsh. The wind is constantly screaming in your ears and the waves wash over you without care. It's getting colder. Oh, thank Father again for the supplies, and Ruth for stuffing my quilt into that already full duffel. It feels as if I have written those words 1,000 times, but with each writing of them, I am more appreciative. It seems Christmas on board a whaler is just another day to most men. No one is planning much of anything in the way of gifts, save for Captain Tinkham. His wife took to be dreadfully seasick and was sent home, but he plans to send her gifts by way of steamers. Oh, that's rather expensive. As far as the crew, he is amiable enough, but doubtful he will acknowledge the day. Perhaps the morning of, he will come on deck and tell us, "Merry Christmas, men! Whosoever spots me the largest sperm whale will sleep in my quarters tonight, and I shall take their bunk." But that would be, as Grandmother Rebecca says, a flight of fancy. The cook is planning to prepare a Christmas supper at sea, or so he calls it. He is promising plum duff and fresh fish, though I do not believe he will catch the number he needs to feed 30 men. I am doubly missing your Christmas cooking this year. There is nothing as good as your plum pudding. It is strange being so far from home on Christmas. There is an ache to write the things I left unsaid last Christmas, but I shall save them for my return. Although I am so far, know I have Ruth, Father, and you in my thoughts. After another Christmas or two, I hope we will spend it all together again. With love, William. He is all right. No harm has come. Oh my, is that the time? I must get home and tell Gabe and Ruth. A Christmas miracle, this letter arriving as it did.
1885. Dr. Harper works in his shop, preparing medicines for those ill on Christmas.
Christmas Eve. Never think about a doctor's office on Christmas Eve, do we? Quiet most times. Every so often, someone comes knocking. And when they do, I have to be ready. Huntington Harper. It's my job to make sure I can help anyone who comes through these doors, and to make sure they can spend the holidays with their families if possible. Years ago, my brother Silas was struck with scarlet fever. He had to spend the entire Christmas holiday away in his room. That is why I always keep my shop open on Christmas Eve. Earlier today, Mr. Gabriel Noyes came to the doors. His wife Sarah is ill. I went over to have a look. Cholera. At their age, even I'm worried. I hope it will pass. I've given her some laudanum for now. Later I plan to make a house call and bring her some pills. It does not help that she is my sister. I am worried. There is not much left in her body at all. That whale ship her fool of a son ran off to aged her. Always worried whether he would make it home. It is not proper for a son to do that to his mother. If I'd been there that night, I would have grabbed the fool by the collar and kept him home. I always reminded Sarah not to worry. It was his own fault William left. She blamed herself. It was a wreck of nerves the entire time he was gone. She waited near all night that first Christmas for a letter from him. Chilled herself to the bone. And even afterwards, it was as if every month she's waiting for a letter from the captain explaining that the worst has occurred. In the same breath, I understand. He is her son. She wants him safe. Just as I wish her safe and in good health. Just as I wish the same for all those who come through my doors. Hold your loved ones tight, because you never know when things can take a turn. I believe we keep them close, especially around the holidays, but it should not just be on Christmas that we remind ourselves what is most important. Not items or things we buy or what hides in presents under our trees tomorrow. Being with those we love and who love us in return. That is what we should all strive to do this Christmas and every day that we reside on this earth. You all have spent far too much time in such a gloomy place this Christmas Eve. There's much more merrymaking to be had and carolers to hear and cookies to eat and memories to be made. And I do implore you, make those memories while you still can and lock them tight inside. Because as time passes, it may be all we have left. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas. Oh, and here you are, dear.
Oh, thank you, Alice. Your cider always brings warmth to these old bones.
Those bones are not that old, William Noyes. You would do well to remember that.
Some days I feel as though I am more ancient than St. Nicholas. I do not know how he does it.
Well, he works only one night a year. You work almost every day.
Yes. And it appears as though I will need to put in more hours on the sales for Briggs. Thank you for everything you have done for our family this year. especially going into the workforce. I never expected it of you.
I know you never expected it of me. But this is our family, and I will do whatever is necessary in order to keep it safe. You will never need to do anything alone again.
You have brought me peace that I have never known before. Now, I know Christmas is tomorrow, but I have something for you tonight.
William, can you not wait until tomorrow? Gifts are supposed to be exchanged on Christmas, not the eve before.
No, I cannot wait another moment. I want you to have this before Ruth arrives tonight, and Father tomorrow. Go on.
Very well. Oh.
It was my mother's, and her mother's before her. When I told Father I had asked for your hand, he gave it to me. It has been part of our family for generations, and now it will continue with you.
Will, this is beautiful.
You must show it to Father when he arrives tomorrow. It brings back many memories for him. It is what my mother wore on their wedding day, and every day thereafter.
Well, I shall have to thank him for it as well. Our first Christmas together. Oh, we should start a new tradition. What shall it be?
I am more than happy for the tradition to be that we spend it together.
Oh, come now, Will. Oh, we will be making Mother's Christmas pudding. Your father will be reading the cricket on the hearth. Oh, surely there must be something to add.
We shall tell the story of our most memorable Christmas. That way, it may change over the years, but it will remind us of other stories we've told. And then we can remember Christmases new and old.
Oh, that is a wonderful idea. Oh, pardon me. Oh, it is story time after all. I must get comfortable. Now, who should go first?
I think you should, Alice. I need to think of mine.
Oh, yes, of course. My most memorable Christmas. Oh, yes. I remember my oldest brother Cyrus played a very cruel trick on me. It was Christmas Eve. I was 7 or 8, and Cyrus was 11. No, he was 12, because he had just begun his apprenticeship under Mr. Clink with 2 other boys, one of whom was from a German family. And this boy, I'm assuming, told him the story of Krampus, because when he came home for Christmas that year, he told us all about how Krampus would come and punish the naughty children, and this story absolutely terrified me. Oh, but that was not the end of it. Cyrus went to bed early that night, and I was sent to bed shortly after. As I was about to climb the stairs, this figure appeared, and it ran down the stairs at me. Oh, I was so frightened I ran into the front parlor, for I believed that Krampus was chasing me. Oh, into the front parlor, the kitchen, the hall, back into the front parlor, and all the while Mother is yelling to stop this nonsense. But I truly believed that Krampus was after me, you see. And then I hear Cyrus laughing. Just like that. I turn around and I see him sprawled out on the kitchen floor with this old crumpled, tattered blanket wrapped around himself. Oh, it was such a cruel thing to do. Mother didn't give him any sweets or candy all Christmas Day, and she made him bring in all the wood for the stove by himself, as she should. Oh, it is quite funny to think of now, but it certainly was not funny that night.
You poor thing. Your brother never should have done that.
That is my most memorable Christmas, and I slept poorly for 3 Christmases after that, worrying about another Krampus, the real one. Most memorable indeed, silly though it may be. What about yours, Will? Have you thought of one yet?
I believe I have.
Oh, yes.
It was Christmas Eve 1880 when I was aboard the Morgan. I am sure you recall the story of 4 years earlier when I shipped out on Christmas Eve 1876.
Yes, how could I not remember that?
Well, by 1880, her hold was full of oil and bailing. We'd hoped to make it home in time for Christmas, but a storm had risen up around the Horn, and we'd been delayed a goodly amount. We managed to make it to the middle of the Atlantic near the tropics. But Captain Tinkham hadn't wanted to waste a moment ashore, so we sailed Christmas Eve. Our prospects were that we would make it back to our home port by January. I was on the midnight to 4 watch. A storm had sprung up. Rain came down in sheets, and I would almost wager to call it a hurricane. The wind whipped so fiercely. All hands were called on deck to help with the sails. Myself and 3 others were tasked with furling the topsail under 4. We all climbed aloft, the ship pitching horribly, and set about our task. I was to the port side, all the way towards the end of the yard. I'd been aboard a whale ship 4 years by that point. I should have known better. But in my rush to get the sail furled, I wrapped the gasket around my arm and got it caught while the men took up the slack. I tried calling out to them, but the wind was blowing from the starboard side, so my voice was lost. I took Father's knife from the sheath. I set about cutting myself loose. It was no easy task. The rain soaked my clothes and made my grip on the jackstay waver. But I managed to cut myself free and tied both ends of the gasket to the jackstay. And by this point, the rest of the crew must have been wondering what I was doing still up in the rig. But when my feet hit the deck again, I gave them an earful. We celebrated Christmas in the forecastle that year. Plumduff and lobscouse. And as I curled into my bunk that night, wrapped in this very quilt, I was never more grateful, knowing that I'd be home in a mere month to see my family again. Ruth, my mother, my father. We could make up for the time we'd lost while I was away. I am thankful I made it home. Some men were not as fortunate. And I am thankful we will all be together this Christmas.
As am I. Many new traditions this year.
Yes. And I am thankful we were able to share a bit of our evening with all of you.
Yes.
Now, I believe we have taken up enough of your time already. You have many homes to visit, and your own memories to make.
Oh, yes, of course. Allow me to show you all out. If you would follow me this way. But first, I would like to wish you all a wonderful rest of your evening and a Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Do follow me this way.